Hello and welcome to round number 8 of the Anti-Stall Racing TCR series here at the Hockenheimring for 2 more races of 15 minutes. Of course, second one being a reverse grid of the top 8. It's round number 8 of the series. We're getting closer and closer to the... Oh, well, we've got 2 more to go after this, so we're nearly at the end of season number 2 of the TCR series. It's been a great season so far, and now we're at another completely different circuit to the rest of the calendar. Last week we were at Brands Hatch Indy, now we're at Hockenheim National B, and I'm, as always, joined by Paulo. Hello, Paulo.
Hello.
Just before, as they've all just about to start qualifying, I should have the correct championship standing, so we should be able to show them just on the screen as we go in. Brandon doesn't look to be here, the championship leader at the moment. He's got a little bit of a gap, so he'll be fine, I'm sure. You know, have a nice week break, Brandon. Hope you enjoy yourself, but yeah, he'll be fine. But behind him, it's quite close. The middle takes P2, Andre and P3, both of them having good races as of late, climbing up the order. They're close, only 5 points between them. They're both here today, so the fight for second is on. Steve in P4, Marcelo trying to climb back up the order. He's 4 points behind Steve in 5th. Close for P6 as well between Stefano and Massimo for P6 and 7. Marco in P8 looks good in qualifying. In practice so far today. Robert in P9 got a nice good hold there on P9 with Marco, the other Marco, behind him in P10, which is joint on points with Aidan Young as well. It's quite close, a little bit further down too, but that's where the main cars are from, main championship contenders. We've got 2 cars today that haven't joined us all season, but are no strangers to the series as they raced during the first TCR series of Tony and the Gaff, but they haven't been here all season long, so we'll see how they can do that car, and let's what everybody's doing in qualifying for today's race is. So, Hockenheim circuit, Paulo, are you a fan or?
The full layout, I'd say. Not this short, bit awkward cut on the middle of the straight. But it is an actually good racing track. Like every series fits well on this. I'm not sure for touring cars yet. I haven't really checked. So we will see how the drivers here will compare to what the tracks that we've been through this season so far.
Yeah, we've had a lot of different circuits. I think we were at Long Beach at one point. We've been to Lime Rock Park, Brands Hatch. Where do we even start the season? We've been to Doster Slideman as well. At one point, Alton Park, I believe we went to too. Yeah, some massively different circuits. Sebring Club is where we started, of course. Yeah. So this is being one of the longer circuits on the calendar, naturally compared to circuits like Sebring Club and Brands and Lime Rock. But yeah, so a bit of a longer laps, a little bit less laps than they have normally, I'd say. What would you say? Is that better or worse? The fact they've got less laps, so less opportunity at certain passing maybe, or would you say because there's more corners there's more passing even though there's less laps?
I would say that it's always about the point of overtaking. That's the difference. Some tracks have more overtaking corners than others, and this one, well, we'll see how it can be done, because you still need to keep up ahead with the car ahead. The thing is about this track being longer, it just means that there are more places to perfect the lap. Yeah, so with less corners that you have, it would mean that you need to try to improve the lap times in less spots, so to say. While on the bigger track, you need to improve a lot of corners to get a perfect lap time.
Yeah, they get less chances at qualifying course as well because it stays 15 minutes long, with a few less chances to gaff back in the TCR series, as well as Tony, which has gone pole for now. Good to see the orange cars back. Of course, we have seen Robert during the entire season, which has been doing extremely well, has Robert, to fly for the Netherlands, but now he's been joined by two of his teammates for the first time this season. So he'll be happy to have them along with them. He has, of course, Robert earlier in the season picked up a win, which he would be extremely happy about, as he just goes through the cut through, and driver 738 has been banned from qualifying for exceeding penalty points. So that is Marcelo. So Marcelo, that explains why he's in the pits. Tough time for him as of late, but did well last week to get some points back. But we'll start at the very back for race number 1 here today. So that could be a charge through the field. And we're just talking about how the opportunities to pass. He's going to need a lot to come through this field of 15 cars.
Yes. And, well, since Brandon is not here, someone can maximize the 71 points that you can get on both races if they want to get closer to Brandon and finishing on top of him on the league. Well, with these chances for Marcel, it's going to be worse for him. He's going to need to overtake a lot of the first race, not to mention that he still needs to get from 8th position to 1st position on the second race. I don't think this is the race for him to get back on the high positions of the standings.
Yeah, a bit difficult. You have to start from the back of the grid. I just want to point out there that the cars there, the two orange ones, the slightly darker tone orange there from Tony's car compared to Robert's. So you can see how fresh they are. Freshly painted are the other two orange cars. Freshly painted as well as Steve's car, the bright pink and green car right up behind Aiden. A little bit of drafting maybe today, do you reckon, as there's quite long straights?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely a lot of safety on this track. Even if we are not using the full straights of the Hockenheim, it's still strong enough for these cars.
Still strong enough. These cars, Steve almost looks like he's trying to look for a pass on Aiden here, but stuck behind him here in qualifying, not able to get through. Marco done a purple first sector. He's looking really quick in practice, as I said earlier, and he is top of the times at the moment with a purple sector 1. Not the best of times out before. He sometimes gets some poor starts, which have hindered his progress during the races, but he has looked very quick in that Absolute Motorsport team car as he goes across the line. I don't think he improved, but he stays at the course at the top of the timesheets for now. Still halfway through qualifying now then, as everyone continues to improve and improve and improve, which I saw during practice that people were just shining lap times out and they kept going and going and going, where they kept finding time. So it's maybe one of those circuits. Look at them, they're all in somewhat trains of cars here, all trying to get a bit of the draft down back straights, because they are extremely long, as you said, in these cars. Of course, not even the full straight, but they are very, very long straights indeed for these touring cars. Big boxy things they are. Most people are now in the Hyundais. One in the Audi, a couple in the Hondas. They're very rare compared to the Velocitors or the Elantra this season, I must admit.
Yeah, I would like to see more variety, especially we are missing the Audis here. Mostly just Hyundais on this league, but it's the thing about in iRacing, or in general racing as well, where the car is strongest in the most circuits, you know. On this league, you cannot change a car between races, so you cannot have the car that's best for each race, track to track. So the one you stick on the first race, you have to keep going on until the full season. Unless you want to switch, which then you get a penalty of points. It's about 2 last races, 2 last rounds, which people don't want to lose it because it loses them the potential for the prize pool, so to say.
Barker goes even quicker. We said Brandon's not here. He's here. He's joined with about 5 to go in qualifying.
Oh, that's it.
So Brandon's here.
Ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
He's here. It's good, yeah. It's been good having him. He's going to come from the back, so we're going to have Marcelo and Brandon coming through the back, unless Brandon can get out within these 5, loaded in and out on circuit within the 5 minutes to get a time in. But now it's gone from having an exciting race to see who can win when Brandon's not here to now it's exciting to see if he can come from the back, which we did see, of course, in Ossersleben. He had to come basically from the back, didn't he?
He can still put a lap. Don't worry about it.
Depends if he's still loading on, doesn't it? Depends how long it takes for his equipment. And, well, basically, it's almost like getting your gear on at a race. How long does it take you to get your helmet on? And I can tell you now, it takes me a little while.
Well, he needs to do an out lap and just a full lap, and he's already going to be, like, top 10 or something. And he has to do it in 4 minutes. And for a lap, it's 1 minute and 33, so he's still got a minute to spare if he goes in now.
Minute spare, so we'll be watching to see if he comes out the pits at any point. Marco again, purple in sector 1. He's going to be hoping that Brandon doesn't get out on circuit because it gives him a better chance at his first win of the season. If he can get pole and Brandon starts last, that'd be good news for him as he comes around the last turn now. All of the curb, nearly up to the gravel line, and goes and stays P1. Does he improve, though, on his time? It's a yes, only just, but he does improve a little bit more now, giving him a gap. But just over 2 tenths, well, just under 2 tenths back to De Gaff, which is, of course, Mr. P2. Like to come in second last season to Brandon. He was in the fight with Marcelo, so it's good to see him back. Lamille, which is currently P2 in the championship standings, got a first win last time out and sits P3 at the moment, so he'll be happy with how this qualifying has gone so far. Steve won't be too happy. He's still stuck, by the way, behind Aiden in qualifying. Maybe he should just back off and try and get him some more space, because this is not how he'd want his qualifying to go. But yeah, he's not. Compared to some of the circuits, maybe it's the shorter circuit Steve seems to be better at than maybe the slightly longer ones here, as him and Aiden, both the only drivers in the 135, so maybe slightly struggling, these two, as they both just improve, I think, as actually Steve has now got up into P8, so caught my bluff there. And Brandon's just leaving the pit lane now. Here he comes.
He doesn't have time. Fortunately, as soon as the clock reaches 0, it's done.
He needs to get there within what? What, 13:30, is it?
Yes, but he's just not going to
No,
get
it's just not a chance. What happened there? Was there a crash with Steve, I think? Maybe, is that the...
Yeah, there was, between Aiden and Steve. I just saw it on the corner there.
I didn't catch it, but I'm sure race control will have a look if they feel necessary, but that probably puts an end to both their qualifyings. If Brandon's not going to get a lap, that means anyone behind him won't. Really,
Is he going for a last to first place challenge again? And this time, let's see if he can do it. Because the last times he tried it, didn't go well. He didn't even get P9 to get the pole position on the next race. And that was in Lime Rock. Yeah, Lime Rock Park.
I think it might have been, yeah. It happened in Ossersleben as well, didn't it? Because he went off.
Yes, but that one he qualified. He just made a mistake.
A few more improvements here and there, but this is looking like your grid at the moment. The mixed up grid, I could have to say, compared to normal. Muriel is going slightly quicker in Sector 1, so he could change the order. He's not far off the gap for P2. So he has got a bit of slipstream from the Andrea ahead, which sits P5 at the moment. This could be possibly the last improvement. I think Paulo's out there in P12 looking to possibly improve.
No, I'm here.
You wouldn't fancy these cars, would you? The front-wheel drive touring cars, a bit different to your prototypes?
Definitely not. It's fun to do like a race every so on, but I still don't feel like racing them, like dedicating myself to touring cars. It's just not my kind of thing. I just like really fast cars that grip a lot to the track. Even GTs I'm not really a fan of. So yeah, I like preferring open wheels, the fast ones especially, or prototypes.
Don't believe it. I think Massimo might come across the line to improve. He might be one of the last ones to go across the line. It looks like he's going to stay where he is. I don't think anyone behind him's got enough time left. The Gaff will go... Oh, he's going to be seconds away from the line. Is he going to actually cross the line in time? The Gaff, he gets a green last sector. Does improve and stays P2. Brandon didn't get around. He managed to get a minute on the clock, but he needed another 30 seconds to go. So that was him loading that realistically stopped him from getting a time in. It is...
Not that he's in real danger, but
no,
yeah.
of course not. Yeah, no, he's not. He's fine. He'll be absolutely fine for this one. Yeah, the grid is as followed. Marco takes his first pole of the season. I think first one, really. And De Gaff back in the series, P2. Look, Lemel, and there's a reprimand for the blocking thing with the Aiden in that one. Lemel takes P3. Stefano, good qualifying for him. P4. Andrea, P5. Fran, P6. Tony back in the series as well, P7. The other Marco in P8. Dario, P9. Steve, P10. Massimo, P11. P12 for Paulo. P13 for Robert. And 14 for Aiden. And then it's Marcelo and Brandon both not getting times in. But that means they've got a lot of ground to cover in race number 1 here, and this is going to be an exciting one to see how far they can get through the field. I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, we shouldn't forget about Marcelo. He's also another fast driver. Sometimes he's unfortunate with some incidents. That's why he got enough penalty points to start from the grid, but not qualifying. So, well, now is his chance to pass more cars than Brandon at the start.
Yeah, it's going to be a fascinating one. They all lined up lovely there. I think they're all possibly should be now on the grid. Was it 30-second warning until they go. The CAF is the only one not, so P2 currently not on the grid, so they're just waiting for him. He's running the clock down. Been a while since he's probably done a race. Well, that's not going to be any good for us. He will pop up the orange card to the left. Your screen's got about 14 seconds to get onto the grid. There he is, pops up lovely. Here we go then. Race number 1 of round number 8. The lights are coming on. Who's going to get the best start? We've got 2 fast chargers at the back of the grid. Bit of a mixed grid. It should be some good racing for 15 minutes. Who gets the best getaway? Barker doesn't normally get the best, so actually alongside is De Gaff. So De Gaff up the inside into turn 1. Will take the lead as they go through turn number 1 for the first time. Does everybody survive in the background? Because it's quite a tight corner on turn 1 when you actually get to the peak of the apex. Now under attack from Lemil in P2. There is Marco Crones across him. It's absolutely fine. Everyone seems to have survived higher up. How is everyone further back? Is everything surviving and just about? Not sure exactly where Brandon is. I think he may have actually made quite a few places up. As we look back to the front, Andrea into P4 now. There's a good start from the Gaff, and he'll be happy with how that's gone. Dario up the inside of Ran into the little hairpin. That's a double right and apex corner. As he got a little nudge there. Brown, which went for an undercut. Tony looking for a way through as well. Everybody's just about to sort themselves out. Steve's just behind Marcelo. Versus Massimo in the background. Brandon's already up to P12, so he's cut through about 4 cars already. As Tony, all over the sausage curb, and he may lose a place here to Steve into the stadium section. Oh, he's hanging around the outside. They have contact. Steve's off, Steve's on, Steve's on. And just about surviving is Tony, and through goes Robert as well. Brandon's looking to try and get past everybody in the mayhem.
We just saw Marcel just coming into the corner backwards.
Instead of coming through the corner back, that's not good, and he has got off the road and lost a bit of time. So something's happened there for Marcelo, getting caught up in a bit of drama into the stadium section. I think they were about 3 wide further back as Steve trying to hang around Robert. Mouse, here comes Brandon, makes it 3 wide on the crossing the line for the first time.
Oh.
Surely he'll back out. You've got 15 minutes. He does back out, and Steve stays ahead of Robert for now. Bit chaotic here further down the order. Everybody just about surviving. As we said, Marcelo got a bit unlucky. Is that Steve having a lunge on Robert? Or not Robert, sorry. Car ahead of Tony. It has to stay behind now. He goes almost for a cutback. We'll have a look to see if anything happens in this corner. If not, we'll have a look, see what happened to Marcelo on that one, as he did get a few positions, but of course now, after the incident drops down, Steve brakes way later than Tony, and up the inside he goes, and Robert also follows him through. But Tony's going to lose a few positions there. Will Brandon pass him as well? He puts his nose in. So Tony doing some early braking and losing 2 positions in it. Brandon not able to find a way through as well. So let's have a look at what happened to Marcelo on lap number 1. Oh, it's 3 wide, like I said. And now got the inside little dodge. Oh, and he's been bounced into another car. Nothing Marcelo could have done. The stewards, of course, will have a look at that, but Marcelo, I think, gets away with any damage, but definitely loss of time. Three wide into the stadium on lap 1. Didn't quite work out. Not exactly shocked about that. Brandon. Oh, off goes Steve on his own. Bye-bye, Steve. Find the track again. It's a bit bumpy out there, and it's no further action for the incident on lap 1. Say the steward and Steve returns back to the circuit once more. I think he may have just got caught on the grass and understeered wide, but yep, no further action for that one. More and more battling here. Now it's Tony versus Brandon. Feels like nearly a year ago, it was months ago since I last said that one. See what Brandon could do. He's all the way up to P10 after nearly 4 minutes. He's not had it all his own way, as there is loads of cars around him, in front of him and behind him. Bits of gaps now starting to form here. Robert, a couple of seconds away from the top 7. All this battling has cost them quite a bit of time with the front runners. They've all seemed to stay in one big train. The gaff leading at the moment, followed by Marco. Look at them as they brake. They're all squirrely under the brakes there. One's rear is locking up slightly as I think Aiden Young passes Marco just behind. And he does get through on double apex hairpin. Ten minutes to go in this one. Brandon already up to 10th. How high do you reckon he can get?
Brandon?
Yeah.
There's a big gap between P7 and P8. After that, I can actually give you a more accurate representation because he's losing time still because of traffic, you know. But when he's alone, he has probably enough space. But yeah, it's all depending on if you can get through these cars or not.
Yeah, absolutely. What's the gap? The race out front, not completely over. The gaff does just put, I would say he put a fast lap of the racing, but the 2 cars behind him then going quicker than him. So the race is on for the win. If someone's just smashed into the curb in turn 1 there and probably damaged their floor as Brandon hits it quite heavily and Tony goes wide. That's a chance for Brandon to get up the inside into turn 2. You don't need to invite him twice. Up the inside goes Brandon, and that is now P9 for him. Unless Tony can get a good run like that, because that is a brilliant corner by Tony, but he's almost...
But yeah, the inside for the next one makes it complicated. Still not done. You can still do it here, unless, you know, Brandon's gonna block the inside, but I think he's just gonna stay behind him. It's safer, because he is a faster car, Brandon. So just stick behind, no point in fighting him.
No point fighting him, might as well follow, try and pick up some more places where he can. The lead battle is like this then. You got the gaff followed by Marco, and then Lemille. Good battle going on here then. They're all pretty quick today. Both of these two fighting for their first win of the season. It's the first race of the season for the gaff, but he leads. Marco got his first pole. He wants his first win of the season. Lemille got his first win last time out. Andrea got his in Ospresleben. So, experienced race-winning top 4 almost here then. Stefano just behind in P5 and Dario P6. But Dario was one of the first winners that wasn't Brandon or what's the other driver's name from the beginning of the season? Damien to win as Marco continues to put fast laps of the race in on his quest to try and get past De Gaff, as Brandon was less than a 10th behind Robert, but has to have slightly backed off. I'm not sure if he's maybe putting his nose up the inside, and he is on the exit of turn 1. He's all over the gravel and the grass to get on the inside line. As long as 2 wheels are on, up the inside he goes, and he's making a head roll. That was nearly contact between the 2 teammates behind. Just about got away with it. But Brandon up into P8 now.
That's the same move he did to Tony, actually.
Yeah.
Exactly the same thing, just the same corner. I guess maybe that's the best overtaking spot, because I haven't seen him other places to overtake so far.
Oh, he's gone wide. He's gone wide on his own, and back through goes Robert, and maybe Tony as well, and Tony as well. Another mistake from Brandon. It's shocking to see when he does them. But through the 2 cars he just spent 2 laps passing, he's back behind him now.
Yeah, I don't think it's his chance now. He only needs to be P8 to get P1 in the next race too. He just needs to stay ahead of Robert. It's complicated, yeah. If you do a mistake like that, it ruins all your progress, sadly.
Yeah, it might heat him up as well. He's looking to the inside. He's not going to go. He is going for it. Looked like he wasn't. The space was left by Tony. A reprimand for 181 was Massimo. Nice space left by Tony. But I think in the end, Tony should just about stay ahead of Brandon for now. Ends
Is
on
this
it.
going to be the point that we're going to see a more aggressive Brandon now?
Yeah, we've seen
Because
it
you
in
know
the
how
past.
aggressive and impatient he is.
Yeah, we've seen it in the past. If he needs to make a move, he will make a move. And a few drivers aren't scared to just keep him behind. There's a mistake from Tony, just like before. It's almost a carbon copy of how Brandon got past him last time. It basically just is a carbon copy. Exactly the same move. And Brandon,
Yeah, every lap it has to be that corner.
yeah, up he goes into the P9. And now has to chase back after Robert. The battle for the lead is still on. It's still Gaff and then Marco. They have Lemil just behind. These top three have got away from Andrea. They're the top three now, all fighting for this win. They all want it. The two here, second and third, really want it more. They're the ones that need it more. And the Gaff, he's not, of course, in any championship fight at all. He's just here, fun and pride to get a win. So he'll be happy with how he's sitting now, under pressure from the two cars behind. He's doing well in his first race back. Fascinated to see that him and Tony have both gone for the Elantra compared to Robert's been racing in the Velosa the entire season. So it's an intriguing difference between teammates. But of course we do see that the other teammates, all the Italians use different cars. Of course Absolute Motorsport use different cars. The GRT team use different cars as well. So it is seen that a lot of them do. It's definitely down to driver preference. When it comes to the cars, as a few of them go a bit wide, turn one, and Hockenheim, it's not really shocking. That's what a lot of people do. Is Andrea in the background under attack from Stefano, or P4.
Probably in these cars, there's not much bigger differences in performance compared to GT3s or even maybe GT4s. Just a little settings that you can change on the car to make improve the setup. So it's really just about how the car really drives by itself, and really it's mostly balanced. But even so, there are some problems because we see a lot of Hyundai's being the most used cars. As we see Bretton just trying again.
Yeah, this time
Overtake
around
here.
the outside, which will eventually become the inside. Nicely cut off there by Robert. He's had a hell of a season racing, but Brandon will go around his outside, which will now be the inside. It's a brilliant race between the two of them. And in the end, Brandon has gone through. It was good defending by Robert. I like what he tried to cut across and defend the inside. He's been doing really well this season, Robert. That was some good racing between the two of them. I think Brandon would enjoy that one there. But with the wherewithal from Robert to try and cut him off and keep him behind. But it's taken 10 minutes. But now, once again, Brandon back into the top 8. And Robert will want that P8. He will want 8th because that's pole for race 2. So Robert's going to want that. He's not going to give up on that just yet. That's a good place to finish, as Robert knows from earlier in the season. Getting the reverse grid win in Lime Rock Park. As, Tony actually looks to be the one that's now challenging Robert just behind. There's lots of racing happening behind with Steve and Paulo and Massimo as well. They're nearly 3-1 to turn 1. That's a risk not worth quite taking, I think. But a good racing here for P12 as nearly all of them go really, really wide, but not quite.
Completely new track over there.
Yeah, completely new circuit. Don't worry about that. It's probably got more rubber on it than the actual racetrack at that point. By the end of the day, I'm sure they're all using it. Good to see Fran.
The thing, you have to use all of the limits of the track, you know? All of it. Even if you have some off tracks, people will take advantage of that just because it's faster to sometimes go outside of the proper white lines that they are marked.
Well, yeah, it's a tactic, isn't it, to use up all your off tracks as well. Very. Oh, Aiden right into the back of Paulo there. Yeah, it is a tactic. If you've got some remaining, why not use them near the end of the race where it can help you gain a couple of positions if needed. Race for P12, really. P11 now, really heating up.
On some tracks, you try to not do any off tracks on purpose because you never know. Like tracks like Spa or Rebel Ring are really dangerous with off tracks, and you can get them so often. So you try not to do them any point of the track unless it happened accidentally. But sometimes I think on Hockenheim, it's another tough track because of the off track, especially in turn 1 on that corner that we just saw there. You get a lot of off tracks.
This is a fight for 11th place, and Steve goes a little wide. May change for P13 there. Massimo might get past him. Oh, I think they touch it. Oh, Steve's not going to catch that. Bang into the wall. It may have broke his car. That's a big one for Steve. It's destroyed his car now. Absolutely cripples the car. Let's have a look at that. Did it break on the impact? Here. Whoa,
Did you try to evade it? I don't think they even touched.
that's interesting to see if the rear suspension had broken on Steve's car and he just couldn't keep it out of the wall. That's my... Ah, it's too late from that one. It's this one here. Did they... Well, from this touch, does his rear right break, or definitely couldn't have? I don't know. I'd be surprised if it did. But yeah, that's not holding out, and he's now out of this one. So unfortunately for him, he'll be starting at the back for the next race. As you see, this car absolutely smoking, destroyed engine. Steve's out. You'll hear be furious. I said that Andrea went off the road, which has now actually allowed Stefano through up into P4. So we're going to have a look at that. How Stefano's lost P4 here. Is it on the brakes? It is, turns in. It's a very difficult corner to pick out, isn't it? Oh, on the gravel. Well, we saw Brandon do that earlier. But yeah, really difficult because there's no real apex to that corner. It's just a bit of grass on the inside that you got to go around. So people struggling with that one. As there is a post-race penalty for 181.
Yes, it did touch. I think Steve really did get too close to the grass. Due to an actual incident, they actually did touch. I reviewed it closer, but yeah, they did touch, and it seems that Steve wasn't given enough space, and that's why the car just jumped to the left.
Yes, Massimo has actually entered the pits as well now. So off that, as Marco really now puts the pressure on the gaff with on the last lap of the race, as well as Tony has passed Robert for P9, so that's changed over. But yeah, last lap of the race, these top three have been nose to tail the entire race. Don't know if anyone's going to be able to make the move with a couple of corners to go. Will the Gaff win his first race back in the TCR series? He's as close as ever to the gravel there. Marco, be happy with a P2. He started on pole. He's that close to his first win, but not quite able to get it. And Lemille in P3 will be happy with the points haul from third. Another podium for him, but it is looking like the Gaff will take his first win of the season on his first race back. Be missing for 8 rounds, but he's back at round number 8, and he will take the win at Hockenheim, followed by Marco and Lemille. They'll be happy with a podium. They ran away from the rest of the field. Stefano will take P4. Andrea follows him home in P5. Dario P6. Brand P7. P8 goes the way of Brandon, which means he'll be on pole for the reverse grid race. Robert takes P9 and in the end beating Tony for P10, so they've changed back over in the last sector. But Brandon will be on pole for race number 2. Fran will start P2. That's probably the highest position he started from. So Aiden ended up winning that battle for 11th place. But the Gaff on his return takes the win. Top 3 were extremely close, but no changes during the race. He able to hold them all off and lead through. But we did see passing from others, including Brandon and a few more. So race 2, as always, reverse grid should be chaotic, but it should be a good one.
The first time we will see Brandon actually start ahead on the race 2.
Yeah, he's gonna. Yeah, it's weird. He's gonna be on pole for race 2. What a weird thing there, but good to have the Gaff back in the series and taking a well-deserved win there, led from the lights.
Yeah, he got it on the first quarter.
Got it at a start, led the entire way. Didn't ever have a bigger gap than a second, I think, so the orange cars all drive round to the pits. Pushing Robert there to the pit lane, that's nice. Nice of him. A good race there. So we lost 2 in the end. Massimo and Steve. Marcelo ends up P14 after that one incident. They are there as well.
Yeah, I thought he would actually get a bit closer. He lost a lot of time on his own, Marcelo.
Yeah, he lost a lot of time. It would seem. That one. Oh, that's not what we want. We want that one overall. There we go. Here are results from that one then. The Gaff takes his first win of the season. Like I said, not more than a second. Only 6 tenths in the end. Back to Marco. Lemille P3. That should be a happy top 3. Steve and Massimo not able to finish in the end, 15, beats 15 and 16. I think actually Massimo may have finished. So P14, but Brandon P8 means here he's on pole for race number 2. Fran P7 means he will line up alongside him in the reverse grid one. And Dario go start P3 in this one as well. So this could be an interesting race. As always with the reverse grid, race 1's gone quite nicely and calmly, I'd say. A bit of here and there. The top 3 were well behaved. They've all just bagged some points now. The drivers have bagged their points. Now they just want to get as much as they possibly can, and they don't really mind who gets in their way. So this should be good. I think Lamille will extend his P2 in the championship as well. So that's how that one lines up. It is a lot coming down to the last couple of rounds. I'm not sure what that means to the championship when it comes to Brandon. I don't exactly know how much point gap he has going into these last couple of rounds, but I don't think it'll be done yet. At least I think we'll definitely go to round 9 with it. Here we go. Get ready for race number 2. Brandon, of course, on pole. Followed by Fran, Dario in P3. Andrea in the Audi, remember, in P4. Could get a very good start here for this one to look out for. Who is going to get the best start? We have a 26-second countdown. It may change now. Here we go. The lights are on. Who's going to get the best start? Race number 2. Brandon is on pole for the first time in a reverse grid race. How's that going to go then? Front to his left. Andrea also in the Audi. The only one in the Audi. But it's a good start for Brandon. It's going to be who stays in second. It's Dario that managed to get a jump into second place through the first turn. It all seems fine further back. That is where the chaos will be. But Dario will be happy. He's made up to P2 from the start. And into turn number 2 for the first time. It all seems nice and calm. Few moves here and there, but nothing too much. How's it gone for Marcelo? There's cars absolutely everywhere, isn't there? A few cars may have gone off. Someone's going slow slightly there up ahead. And someone's in the wall. It's Marco in the wall in the background. Don't know how he's got there, if he had a helping hand. It's 3 wide actually further back here into the hairpin for the first time. Does everybody just about get away with it? I think they've all just about got away with it. Everyone maybe leaning on each other a little bit. And it's not quite done yet, but I don't know what happened to Marco in the background. We'll go have a look in a second. It's up the inside. The car slightly back there. It's Massimo. Up the inside is Tony, which has not come off. But it's Brandon, then Dario in P2. Bit of a gap for Anne in P3. He'll be happy with that start. Now, Andrea just behind. Everybody seems calm and collected. Where did the leaders from race 1 get? Gaff is still P8. The male is actually in P6 and B. They've all stayed exactly where they were, realistically, at the front of the grid. It's only further back that has changed anything. We will go have a look after they've all crossed the line. What happened to Marco further back? I'm intrigued to see. Does the other Marco now challenge the mill in turn 1? Thinks better of it and stays where he is. What's happened then? What did happen in the end to Marco? Let's have a look. Him. Oh, he's just on the grass? He just loses it on the grass by himself. That's unfortunate.
Yeah. Well, he already left as well, so yep. I guess he's there for today.
Yeah, that's his day done. That's unfortunate for him. As Marco up the inside then on Lamille. He's almost getting pushed by the gaff here. He is getting pushed by the gaff into P6. Now they all break. They've almost gone 3 wide there into the braking zone. Up the inside then Marco goes after the helping hand from the gaff. Looks down to pass Lamille as well. Not able to do so, but yeah, flash of the lights there from Lamille. He's got passed by Marco, which literally got pushed past him by the gaff, pushed him through. So that is interesting to see. What an interesting turn of events, isn't it? The fact that another driver's helped you pass by literally pushing you past the car. Yeah, see how this one turns out. So a little bit of movement between these lot. Brandon's up and away and gone. Dario happily in P2, followed by Ferrari. That's a good exit. Maybe not. They stay as they are for now. They won't want to battle too hard. The gaff up the inside. Late lunge hits Lamille and off he goes.
Oh,
that was a late one. Nice drift by Lamille to get back on the road. But I think that may be a shut case. That one very quickly and easily. It was very late. Marcelo there off the road. Very late from the gaff, I'd say.
Yeah, that's not the kind of gaps you can try and overtake. There are certain corners that you can easily overtake. Unless the car ahead of you does a mistake, then you can put your car ahead, but that was a bit too much. It was unfortunate for... who was spun, sorry, in Alfred?
Limel.
No, yeah, it was unfortunate for Lemuel. He did nothing wrong.
He just went to turn into the corner and then suddenly the car had appeared a bit late on his inside. It is under investigation, which I am not exactly surprised about. Not sure why the... Oh, it is working on your screens. It's not working on my screens, but the
Yeah, see.
the car, the thing isn't working on my screen, but it's on the stream, so that's good. But yeah, as we continue on, lead now up to 3 seconds. Brandon trying to absolutely run, well, not trying, but he is absolutely running away with this one. He'll be happy after missing qualifying. It's exactly what you want, isn't it? Start at the back, reverse grid pole, boom, there it is. And that's worked for him, but everybody behind now fighting. Ferran and Dario will be happy. For this will be Ferran's first podium if he can stay there, so that's what he's after. And Dario, I don't know how many podiums he's had. I know he had a win very early on in the season due to a reverse grid race, but I think that may have been Alton Park, but I don't think he's had any sort of luck since. So he'll be happy to stick in P2 as we're on board Stefano, which, there you go, into turn 1 actually massively eases off so he doesn't get too close to Andrea just ahead of him. And now, look at the run he's got. Up the inside he'll go for turn 2. It's worked perfectly for Stefano there. Trying to get past Andrea. Up the inside turn 2. It's a done deal. Now, on the exit, he should justify. Actually, Andrea may have the inside for the next corner. So now a drag race down. The part of the circle they call this is actually called the parabolica in the cameras, which is interesting. This is called the parabolica, but up the inside and through goes Andrea. Back past. So Stefano.
Yes, Stefan did a good switchback this time compared to what we've seen before on the previous race, people doing it on Brandon. It didn't work because he still needed speed on the exit of right before the straight part. And yeah, Stefano did really well. Keep that position now, again, retaking the position.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, he's done a very good pullback. We did see it multiple times, yeah, where they just weren't able to get it done, but it was well done by Andrea there to get it done. The mill goes up into P10. It was
also,
a 5-second penalty for De Gaff as well.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, which I think fits the... it fits well. I think that's exactly what I would have said.
He already won the race. It doesn't matter to him anymore.
Oh, that's wide from Stefano. Find the track again, he does. But nothing happened, did a little bit of rallycross. And they're in the background there, Marco and the Gaff slowly clutching up to the top 5 here. They've got a while to go until they get there, but they're coming at a speed. Trying not to race each other too much. As Marco there in the background defending from the Gaff. So it is slowing them down slightly. Marcelo's not made much ground, still in P13, so he's not having the best of time today at Hockenheim. But points are points, and you just need to pick them up as you go. What he needs at the moment. Steve, to be fair, the car in front of him in the championship not having the best of time either. He's actually outscored him so far today, so he is making a little bit of ground in the standings. The Gaff is just past Marco for P6, so I said they weren't fighting. I've fully lied to you, as there they are fighting, as that's deep from Marco. And through goes the Gaff, and I think Robert might try and follow him through, and he does. A little bit of contact before the corner, I think, there, but they've got away with it. Sideways for Robert, but they are still side by side. Luckily, everyone's got away with it. They touched doors into the stadium section. It's getting bumpy between Marco and Robert. They've had some racing and a half this season. But normally, I think they've had more contact there than they have the entire season. I've watched them race each other side by side for a majority of it, so interesting there. Maybe a slightly frustrated Marco.
They're really taking advantage of how hard these cars are.
Yes, they're absolutely fine after, I think Robert hit the wall, went sideways. And yeah, and oh hey, Aiden off the road there in the background as well. Yeah, they are built strongly.
And already Brandon got a 5-second lead of Dario. That's the Brandon we usually see on race 1. But now he's on race 2. It's different this time.
Yeah, he's not coming through the field today. He's already there instead. It's weird. We've had it completely reversed today, but yeah, he's got a 5-second gap now, and here he looks to take another win this season. That's behind Tony. Has gone up into P11. It is still close for P3 behind. Well, and then this battle of cars. 3-3.
It's another thing about these cars in general, the racing of touring cars. You can really push around with the other cars. It's full on contact, and it's not something I'm really not used to. You know, I'm always gonna give space to others because it easily breaks your car. So to see this kind of racing is just I wouldn't be used to it as much, so to say.
Yeah, no, it's completely different. Yeah, you can squeeze people a little bit more. You can door to door, a little bit of a nudge here and there. It's fine. You don't want to do it too often, but you can do it. You can give each other a little nudge, and you tap someone up on the back of the car just a little bit just to let them know they're there. You can do these things. You can help bump draft each other. People aren't going to be too happy if you continue to do it, but you can do it here and there, and you can almost work together as a team as well. But yeah, door-to-door contact is normally with a thumbs up, and as long as you touch the car and don't spin them, it's normally allowed. But you shouldn't hit the pass, though, of course. You're not allowed to hit and pass. But if you hit someone and they do slightly slide, if you just lift off, then it's all okay as long as they stay ahead. But there's a few different tactics in it.
We've seen the cars even go a bit sideways, but because they have front wheel drive, you can just push the accelerator and you're back on track.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Yeah, they're great cars in that sense. If you do get a little tap from the car behind, which is expected, you can just floor it and live to fight another day, as it's staying as it is for now. For this lead battle of the top three, Grant happy with P3, hasn't had a podium, I don't think, yet this season. He wants it now, and Andrea just behind him. Look how close he is. Can't see his bonnet, but you know it's nearly in the back of Ferran ahead. As the mill now goes up into P9 as he goes on his recovery drive back through the order. As I say that, he's now actually dropped back behind Aiden, so I think they're probably side by side. They are side by side, just further back as well. Dario would be happy with a P2. He'd be happy as well with the buffer of Ferran behind him. Keeping Andre and Stefano, the gaff slowly catching up. About 4 minutes left to go. Don't know if the gaff will get there in time to really influence this battle at all. It's more whether or not Andrea can get a run on Ferran. Ferran, of course, joined partway through the season. GT driver in the IMSA series. Adopting well to the TCR series, I must say. Train continues to form extremely close for this top three, almost top two, because they're just behind Dario, but Dario seems to be almost calm here. He's probably not very calm in the actual car itself, but it's 4/10 gap. It means he's not under pressure, but Ferran is. Now Andrea looks to the inside at the hairpin, and he's not quite there, looking at the shadows of the cars. Just sit and wait again there. No one trying the move where Brandon was passing people earlier at turn 2. That might be the best bet for Andrea.
It worked out as well because the cars he was betting Brandon, they did go wide, a lot wide on turn 1.
Yeah, that could be a big factor. There's Gaff now has joined the back of this battle just behind Stefano for P5, so there he is. Queue of cars getting longer and longer.
Yeah, in general, this isn't the best track to overtake, you can see it, for touring cars. But it does prove a bit more on the skills of the drivers, though. A lot of complex corners and combination of corners that this track has.
Yeah, very, very different circuit, of course, next time out. It's an even more different circuit. Oh, damn, where are we going? Oh, we're going Road Atlanta, I believe, next. Is the next circuit on the schedule, so a completely different circuit to this one. A favourite among the TCR community, so that should be brilliant.
Is it? I never knew.
It's used nearly every season, nearly every other season in the officials. And it gets, of course, they get voted for, so do expect them to enjoy it, and it's well used for the TCR's cars.
I've never seen touring cars, actually. I am interested to see how touring cars drive on that course.
Oh, that's a move
This
from the
video-
gaff. That's close. Does he get away with it? Stefano defended the entire way with him. I don't think there was any contact till now. Door-to-door there. Midway through the corner. Stefano will keep the inside. And I think there's been a crash between Lemille and Aiden as they drop down the order. We'll go have a look at it in a minute. Once this is all done with, as Stefano stays. Oh, sorry, doesn't stay. He falls behind the gaff there. And the gaff, a good move. Followed the entire way from Stefano. Good defending, but not able to keep him behind. But it's bad news for Lemille in the championship standings as it's gone bad for us. Gets hit by one. Here's a hit, and there's a send, and through goes Stefano. Back on the gaff. And the gaff actually will lose a place to Marco too. So if it was a 5-second penalty earlier for the gaff, which is going to be another one as he collects Marco there, and Marco goes round. Exact same thing he did with Lemille, and then Marco gets hit from Robert as he returns. And that's a broken car for Marco. And probably a broken one for Robert as well. We'll go have a look at a few of those in a second.
It's pure chaos on those last corners.
Yeah, pure chaos. You could see that one coming from Marco's point of view. We're going, I think we're on to the last lap now, but
They all involved Robert too.
yeah. So Marco goes back forward. You can see the Stefano one. You can see that's easy, and he does exactly what he did earlier on today, and hits Marco. And then Marco is just going to be, yeah, Robert's destroyed the car there, but I don't think Robert really had many places to go, but we'll see about that one in the stewards. What happened then to Lemille and Aiden Young is the question. What happened to those two? Because they had contact at the hairpin as well. Here we go. They were side by side. Maybe a slight touch there. No, as they turn in, touch, and then they've just
missed the corner completely, both of them.
they've touched doors, and it's just forced everybody through. How's he going? I think Brandon, we will come to the end very soon. Oh no, Fran! He's gone off. He's gone off right at the end.
He lost his podium chance.
What's happened there? Stefano's had a moment with Andrea. I don't know what's happened to them. We'll have to go back and check exactly what's happened. But Brandon crosses the line to win. Hockenheim, don't worry about him. Dario's going to get P2. I think Andrea somehow, on the last lap, has taken P3. There might be penalties coming for a few drivers, so Fran might go back up the order, but he was running in the podium places, but he crosses the line 6th. It may as well change. I'm not sure what's happened behind him as everyone feeds across the line. Marcelo ended up P10. He probably doesn't even know how he got there. Let's have a look at what happened to Fran. Oh, he's already spun by this point. Oh no, can we not see anything earlier? What happens to him? Does he get spun or does he spin on his? Oh, he's gone into the back of. Oh, he's gone into the back of Dario. That
seems so. Yeah, he tried to probably not to hit him too hard, but when you brake too hard, that's just locking up the wheels, and that made him spin.
Fascinating that he's managed to do that. A lot happened near the end there. A lot for the stewards to look at. To be honest, there was the Stefano one on Gaff, then there was the Gaff one on Marco, there's the on Aiden one on there's the Marco one and Robert. Yeah, there's a lot to look at there. So penalties I think 5 seconds anyway did go the way of the Gaff for the one early on, so Ferran will go back up into P5, but the question would be whether so we won't make a podium sadly for him, but whether or not he gets P4 depending on what happens with Stefano and the incident with the Gaff as Brandon comes around to park it on the start line and be happy with yet another victory in the TCR series. There we go. Brandon wins at Hockenheim. Race number 2. Didn't have it his own way in race 1, missing qualifying, but he'll be happy with that one. Here are the...
He hasn't won in a while, too.
Yeah, I don't think he won last week, did he? No, he didn't win last week, so yeah. Interesting to know.
And on Osterschleim, he hasn't won either.
Oh, actually, no, he did win at Browns, didn't he? He did win at Browns. He beat Marcelo. Yeah, he didn't win at Osterschleim.
Oh, yeah, true. He didn't win at Osterschleim. I don't think he won a landmark either. Or If he did, was it just the first race?
Probably just the first one if he did. He definitely didn't win the second one because Robert got that
Yeah.
one. 10-second gap in the end. Dario will be happy with P2. Andre will be happy with P3. Kept his nose clean. Things pending for the Degaff and Stefano, but Fran I assume and expect to go up in at least P5. And
Do you want to bring Brandon to interview?
yeah, we'll bring him down. He didn't really see much in race number 2. To be honest with you, actually he saw nothing in race number 2 other than he drove
No,
away.
even 10-second gap to the P2 is a lot. But that's what you used to see on race 1 anyway. It just happened to be on race 2.
Yeah.
But I'm curious to see like his mistake on race 1, for example.
Bring him down now. See what he has out. No further action between 11 and 4. You remember what that one is? We just read the no further actions between certain drivers. What's 11 and 4? 11 and 4 is Gaff and Marco. And that one's no further action. I'll be surprised on that one. We're all to the stewards because that was the exact same instance before. But Brandon, you missed qualifying, which decided then to give you an extremely different race, really. Normally you're on pole, but instead you're at the back of the grid. Did well in race 2, of course. But how was it for once using the reverse grid race to your advantage?
Oh, yeah, that was I didn't mean to. It was funny. It was it was like I don't know what time. 2:09 or something. It was like, oh man, I'm gonna miss the race. It's Tuesday. So yeah, I went to the league page. It said it was closed. I was like, oh man, not gonna be able to get in, but it let me in anyway. So so that was good. And yeah, I wasn't sure if I was gonna be able to start the race because I didn't have enough time to make a lap. But fortunately, they let me on the grid. And yeah, so yeah, it was just a lot of fun there. Lots of cars all over the place. It was really fun navigating through everything. And yeah, it's a really great racing all throughout the pack. And yeah, it was just and then yeah, race 2, I was just able to get to 8th place there, so it reversed the grid. And so it was kind of like I guess kind of like it was similar, I guess, but kind of backwards. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. And fortunately had a setup already. And yeah, just a lot of last minute tried to just like getting used to that one corner that cuts off the long track. And but other than that, yeah, that was a lot of fun. And yeah, it was good stuff.
Yeah, you made a mistake at that corner, actually. You got up the P8 and then went deep, I think, and into that sort of cut-off part of the circuit where then you lost the 2 places back. Is that due to the fact that you just didn't have the practice to get used to that corner?
Oh yeah. I was just seeing what I could get out of there. And yeah, I just went a little bit too deep. And there's like track and then sand. So I got a little bit on the sand. And yeah, just couldn't accelerate. So yeah, lost a couple there. And had to try and get those back. But yeah, it was it's a really fun layout. I really like that. That new corner that cuts off the hairpin. And yeah, it creates a new like it just kind of makes things fresh. And yeah, that was good.
So next week, I think we're at Road Atlanta, if I'm not wrong. Is that a circuit you look forward to, or?
Oh yeah, Road Atlanta is a really great track. Love all the elevation changes, a few curbs you hop over. And then you also have a nice combination of technical and straightaway and as well. So that's a really great track. And got blind corners as well. And so it's just a great track to drive. So I'm looking forward to that for sure.
So
So
from the next race, you can already win the championship. But
Oh,
if
okay. So is there like a certain position, or is that kind of hard to figure out right now?
it will require some points, some calculations, but I think the maximum points you can get is 71, and you already have a 71 gap to the car behind you.
Okay.
So being 2 races. The remaining you need about just yeah, it's hard to tell, but I know that I think you only need 45 points or 20 points, and you already gained the championship.
Okay, that's cool then. Yeah, that's really cool. And yeah, just yeah, again, really great racing from everybody all season. It's been a blast. So yeah, we'll come into the last few rounds or a couple of rounds, see what we can do. And but that definitely it takes a little bit of weight off my shoulders there. So that's really good. Thank you.
You could have missed this race, and you'd still be in the lead anyway.
Yeah, well, that's what we thought you were doing. We thought, oh, he's just having a week off. You know, he's decided he's got a nice gap. He won't. And then a couple minutes ago in qualifying, you appear, and it's like, oh, completely different story. Now he's got to come through the field. But you did well. Of course, got the reverse grid race, which is a completely different one to normally. Normally, you have to fight your way through. But yeah, completely reversed it this week. But yeah, see how you do at Roland. Congratulations on yet another win, Brandon. And we'll see you next
Thanks,
time.
guys. Have a good one. And yeah, we'll see you next week. Thank you.
So, Paulo, it's a reverse time. Normally, we see Brandon win race 1 and then struggle through race 2, but it was completely different today. We saw him the opposite, reverse through race 2 and struggle through race 1, but he still picked up the win. Of course, good to see the Gaff back taking a win as well, so another new winner in the series. We've got Road Atlanta next. How do you think that's going to go? Do you think good racing?
Like I think it could be good. Road Athletics is awesome. Like in every car you drive, it's good, and I think it does fit the touring cars better than even Hockenheim. Honestly, depends on the layout of Hockenheim, but I think Road Atlanta, because it has long straights and really heavy brakings, it can do for some good racing. And also this Thursday, it's also going to be Road Atlanta, but it's on IMSA series.
Oh, really? Interesting. Yeah, so they'll be able to stock up some knowledge and watch the IMSA series on Thursday. Be a very good watch. Hopefully not in the night time. I must admit, taking the pictures was a bit difficult at Suzuka, but I think it'll be bright sunshine hopefully in Road Atlanta.
Well, it's at 4:40, so I think it's going to be sunset.
Ah, sunset. That'll be nice and pretty then for all the pictures at least.
In general, there are no touring car races at night, correct?
Probably not. Probably there's the one at the end of the season in British touring cars where it's like they run out of time, and by the end of the race, it's basically night time. Like, it's not done on purpose. They just run it to the clock. But yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But there's not really many. I'd say maybe over in the Middle East, there might be a few more races that are done during the night for the temperatures of reasons. They're not over here in England.
No, it does on the Nürburgring. The Nordschleife is,
of course,
is at
yeah.
night.
Yeah, that's a big endurance one. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, that's it then for today.
Yeah, it should be good. Right. Thank you everyone for joining us. Of course, yeah, next week on Tuesday, same time, Road Atlanta. Of course, and well, Road Atlanta on Thursday night for the IMSA series, an hour's worth of racing there. At the beginning of that, there's a 45-minute qualifying, which basically turns in full podcast. So do tune in a little bit earlier if you want to just hear a few people talk random stuff about racing and especially multicast racing as well and the new hypercars. But of course, thank you for everyone joining us. Thank you, Paulo, of course, for being here, and we'll see you all next week.